على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن دعا بدعوته إلى يوم الدين. Your Eminence, Honorable Minister, Chairman of the Hajj Commission, very distinguished ulama, very distinguished senior officials, senior citizens, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. The Sultan, His Eminence, always likes to refer to me as a politician. I'm not sure the politicians accept me as one. I always try to distinguish, to draw a line between being a politician and being in politics. I'm in politics, undoubtedly. I'm not quite sure if I pass for a politician. Having said that, let me also start by saying I honestly accepted very reluctantly, because I'm really worried about what to say and what not to say to an audience, and this is the Nigerian audience, not necessarily this particular audience, that is accustomed to praises and not criticisms. We know our life, we know how too much praises are usually showered on occasions. And I get worried. The ulama here will remember that very important passage. I think it's in Ali Imran. وَيُحِبُّونَ أَن يُحْمَدُوا بِمَا لَمْ يَفْعَلُوا. And these are people that Allah has promised to punish. Those who love to be praised for what they have not done. I see a lot of that in our life, even Muslims. I wonder if I can communicate or end up in a dialogue of the deaf with an audience that appears to me to be quite happy and settled to the ways of Nigeria, where everybody you meet wants change, but hardly anybody is ready to change. I worry about the depth of the discussion I would engage in a country which is obsessed by ceremonies and protocols, and where patience and diligence are in very short supply. I worry about how my concern for high standards will be received in a country where there is very little respect for standards, and where governments, both state and federal, place a higher premium on loyalty than competence. I worry if this exercise is truly aimed at evaluating the journey so far, or it is only to fit a routine, a 10-year anniversary, money budgeted, spent, and reports written and put on the shelf, end of story. This is the character of the Nigerian institutions. This is something that we all know. And I'm placing it here so that people can reflect and that we try to change the way we do our things. Hajj in Islam is neither fun nor joke nor a pastime for self-aggrandizement, which unfortunately it has been made to appear today. Hajj is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, perhaps the strongest of them. For coming the last in sequence of the 5 pillars, it subsumes them all. Like each of the pillars of the Quran, the Quran explicitly states the major objectives for each of them. The ulama here know when Islamic State of Andalus, where famous scholars like Qadi Iyad, the author of Ashafa, which we read every Mawlud, people like Ibn Rushd of Bidayat al-Mujtahid, and a host of other ulama. And of course the southern part came and established the state of Takrur, and this is why the first black people who made Hajj were from this state. And the word Takrur or Tikari is actually related to that. The case of Mansa Musa of Mali, that of Askia Muhammad of Songhai, and Umar al-Futi of Senegambia are some of the more well-known. Even the dramatic and unprecedented transformation of Hausaland into the Sokoto Caliphate, in a way, is a product of Hajj. For even though Sheikh Usman bin Fodio never went to Hajj, his leading teacher and mentor, Sheikh Jibril bin Umar, went to Hajj twice. And you remember what the Sheikh said about his teacher Jibril. He said, if anything good is said about us, then we are nothing but a wave of the waves of Jibril. Perhaps the first to make Hajj in the whole of Bilad Sudan is the May of Borno, May Dunama Ume. This is in 1098 to 1151. Who made Hajj twice and died when returning from the third. Muhammad al-Amin al-Kanemi, a contemporary of Sheikh Usman and Muhammad Bello, made Hajj once and continued to plan for the second until his death. Muhammad Bello, like his father, could not make it to Hajj and lamented how the affairs of state made it difficult for him. But he wrote a book, which I think is very important, Tanbihul Raghib Lima Ya'tabar al-Hajj min al-Masfasid, in which he delineated the roles of the state in Hajj, clarified the issue of istita'a, which is the ability, and expounded on Hajj as a diplomatic instrument to enhance international relations. The point here is to establish the role of Hajj in state building, social integration, economic transformation in Africa, and to show the place of Hajj, or the place Hajj enjoyed in Africa, in African politics in the last 1,000 years of African history. During the colonial period, the British Imperial Administration, having recognized the great potential for Hajj, did everything to discourage it. The first attempt to organize Hajj in modern Nigeria started with a motion by Alhaji Abubakar Imam in 1953 in the budget session of the House of Representatives in Lagos. The motion was tabled for the establishment of a Nigeria office in Jeddah to cater for the welfare of Nigerian pilgrims going to Saudi Arabia for Hajj every year. The motion was approved and Abubakar Imam got permission to travel to Hajj that year and wrote a report that will guide the government in setting up the office in Jeddah. His mission got a boost with a letter from the Permanent Secretary of the Northern Ministry of Local Government, then Malam Ahmadu Rabah, the Sardona of Sokoto. On his return, the report of Abubakar Imam was accepted with all its recommendations. And Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardona of Sokoto, on becoming Prime Minister in 1954, became the pilgrim leader every year until his death in 1966. Thereafter, the organization of Hajj went through various stages of chaos and confusion. In 1975, the federal government abolished private agents who had turned into some kind of Shylocks milking the poor and established the Nigerian Pilgrim Board. The NPB had wide powers and the capacity to succeed, but predictably, by 1979, the board became embroiled in corruption and wastages. An amendment to the decree was made in 1986, but this did not help much. And by 1989, another decree, number 15, was issued establishing another body and removing the monopoly of the Nigerian Airways in the airlift. This very decree never actually took off, and every year came with a new arrangement, and the Saudi authorities got tired of seeing different faces every year, and they started by responding with contempt for everything Nigerian. Confusing and untold suffering of pilgrims continued for a whole decade before some relief came. By 1999, a democratic civilian government came on stream. The first Hajj for this administration was a monumental disaster. This actually helped in initiating and expediting the process of having a permanent Hajj body with a clear regulatory role to ensure smooth and professional operations. It started in earnest with a memo from the office of the then Vice President for the creation of a presidential committee on reorganization of Hajj management in 2001. The process went through 3 distinct stages. The stage of consultation with stakeholders culminating into a conference in Kaduna, the stage of collating these views and crafting of a draft bill for the National Assembly, and finally the state of legislation, the passing of the bill in the National Assembly, which was done in 2006, a period of about 5 years. Maybe I should mention there were lots of pressure to have one single bill for both Muslim and Christian pilgrimage. But we argued that these pilgrimages are not the same, and there is no symmetry in religion. It doesn't mean if you have it here, then you must have it there. And we had to struggle quite hard to make them two separate bills so that we will not be encumbered by some of the things that, some of the provisions that Allah has made, for us. In all these international best practices were sought, the two experiences which informed a lot of the provision of the bill are the Tabung Hajj of Malaysia and Diyanet of Turkey. Tabung Hajj in particular has got a creative provision of Hajj schemes which can be designed to provide the service of microfinance, alleviate poverty, achieve financial inclusion. The idea behind this savings scheme was not only to make it easier for the poor to make Hajj, but also to transform the life of the poor by getting access to finance, to undertake small-scale enterprises, and to pull the poor out of poverty. This is in keeping with the objectives of Hajj, the economic transformation of communities and polities. To be sure, the Hajj scheme is supposed to re-engineer the economic life of the Muslim community and reinvent that community away from the poverty and dependency that defines it at the moment to self-sufficiency and productivity. The words of the bill were so crafted to provide the flexibility for the Commission to do just that. It is in stipulating the functions of NARCON in the Act establishing it that a lot of the potential of NARCON to continue the task of transformation and re-engineering of society's life. Out of the 11 functions enumerated, 6 are routine and well-known. Each of the other 5 functions present NARCO with a huge opportunity to make an impact commensurate to the historical role of Hajj. For example, Function D in the Act, part of which says, ensure the establishment and management of pilgrim camps and related facilities. This provides a huge opportunity to invest in low-income but efficient accommodation chain, which can, off-season, be a great source of income, which can create an investment diversification and rejuvenation of the local economy. In fact, you can build a whole industry around the Hajj camps. So that off-season, there will be a lot of other services, activities that you can provide to the community. Function E deals with the establishment of an adequate information system and libraries of books and other relevant publications. So, however, that the library should be open to the public. This again provides a huge opportunity to stimulate the reading culture among Muslim community, promote literacy among Muslims. With a little imagination, this can be transformational. Function F, establish and maintain a biometric bank of all intending pilgrims for the Hajj and Umrah. Any adult Muslim is technically an intending pilgrim. So this can provide a huge platform for social entrepreneurship. These are new ways of organizing and harvesting the potentials and talents of people in ways that mobilize them for providing a variety of services to boost new businesses. Function G, conduct educative and enlightenment campaigns on Hajj and Umrah in all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. This provision, though complementary to E, is yet distinct. Here lies the opportunity to make all Muslims literate and turn them into the global citizens they are supposed to be. With this literacy orientation comes endless opportunity, which again cannot but be transformational. And I think this fits in with the point that His Excellency Ibn Barda has raised, that we can literally use this opportunity to educate all Muslims in Nigeria, because every Muslim is an intending pilgrim. Function K, regulate and control all matters concerning the welfare of Nigerian pilgrims and to formulate policies in connection therewith. The emphasis is mine. Here is both an opportunity and a clear mandate to produce policies on Hajj. Just like every sphere of government activity must have a clear policy which guides it and is reviewed from time to time, like economic policy, agricultural policy, industrial policy, etc. So also Hajj. At the moment, I'm not aware of any national policy on Hajj. And the absence of such a policy cannot but create constraints, to say the least, in the realization of these objectives. National policies are supposed to break down these objectives and functions of departments of government into implementable components and streamlined into government budgeting scheme in ways that create focus, synergy, and sustainability. In addition to all these, there is also the omnibus clause function, J, which in part says, do such other things that are conducive or incidental to the discharge of the foregoing function. This even broadens the options for NACON in the pursuit of those objectives of Hajj. So looking into the future, NACON has a lot of work ahead of it. It would appear that the first 10 years has been a period of establishing the office and populating it with personnel. The actual work that NACON has been established to perform has not yet begun. What the leadership of NACON needs to do is to first understand the scope and depth of their mandate and the opportunity this mandate presents for them, not only to reinvent Hajj management operations, but indeed to reinvent the Muslim community in Nigeria. The vision which informed the NACON Act of 2006, I meant to say 2006, is a vision which resonates with the historical mission of Hajj as an institution, precisely that mission to transform not only the individual Hajj, but also the social, economic, cultural environment of the Hajj. The Act has empowered NACON to do all this within the framework of the Nigerian Constitution and with the support of the Nigerian institutions, but these can only be harnessed and sustained if and when there is national policy on Hajj. Under Section 11 of the Act, funds of the Commission, NACON is allowed to accept bequests, gifts, and donations, which in a way allows NACON to raise funds through crowdfunding, which can come huge for the purpose of executing its mandate. Just as an example, if you just raise 10,000 naira from 100,000 people, that automatically gives you 1 billion naira. And there is a lot that you can do with 1 billion naira. The potential is simply enormous. But I should quickly add that NACON would need the highest ethical standards to build the credibility, to earn it the trust necessary to succeed. It will also require staff recruited on merit. In other words, it needs to prioritize competence over loyalty and other selfish considerations. I wish NACON all the luck in the world. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Thank you very much. So when you hear me say Sunday, it means something is over. Not tomorrow Sunday.
The future. I feel highly honored to be called upon as a discussant to this paper. The role of a discussant is just to make a contribution to what is presented. It's not a criticism of the paper, not a criticism of the presenter, but a sort of addition to what the presenter has said. To mention the positive sides of the paper and, if possible, the negative sides, and to make a general remark. That's why, in general, it's always good to give a copy to the discussant in advance, so that he can think of what the presenter has done and what he should have done and what is missing. But in this case, that was not done. Anyway, as we all know, a presenter is an authority, as His Eminence has mentioned. And this is not the first time he's invited to the Commission. In the retreat of 2009, he was invited. And he made analysis of the 2006 Establishment Act in his capacity as one of the founding fathers. In his analysis of Section 7 and 11 of the Act, he made a detailed explanation of the things the Commission can do with the Act, how the Hajj 7 scheme can be made to become one of the greatest financial institutions in the country, how the Commission can help in developing ethical investments in the country, how the Commission can become a means of promoting scholarship among the Muslim Ummah. Unfortunately, up till today, most of the brilliant ideas he proffered then are still lying down unattended to. I hope his analysis of today will not go the same way. Let's discuss what is meant by the past, the present, the future. The past means the period before the establishment of NAHCON. That's what we understand from his presentation. And the present means the years, the 10 years after the establishment of the Hajj Commission. And the future means maybe a decade, what the Commission should be aspiring to achieve in the next 10 years, not a distant future. He started by introductory remarks. Then he talked about the period before the establishment of NAHCON. So, but maybe the point I should make is that in the paper is Hajj management in Nigeria honoring the past. He told us what happened in the past. Things were really bad. So how do we honor the past? He didn't mention that. I think what honoring the past should mean is that we shouldn't feel so bad about what happened in the past, because it was that embarrassment, national embarrassment, and so many things, had with tears. That's what brought, or what gave birth to the Hajj Commission that we are enjoying today. So that's my own interpretation of honoring the past. As for the present, that's the 10 years the Hajj Commission has existed. I think the presenter didn't tell us the achievements in these 10 years. I say the commission has been established, and even the FCT minister, the pioneer chairman of the commission, he said almost something like that, as if the 10 years has just been establishment. But I have for you 24 solid achievements of the commission. I know I will not waste your time talking about them. So it's not just an issue of is that no? Is that all? No. As for the future, the presenter told us what the Act empowers the Commission to do, how the Commission can raise funds for different purposes, need for merit in recruitment of staff, and so on. But as His Eminence said earlier, we are not supposed to restrict ourselves to what the presenter has said, but to contribute, give. I have several things I think the Commission, but I'm being asked to summarize. To stop. I don't know. It's okay to summarize. If to summarize, that's what I think that's shaping the future. In addition to what the presenter has said, and the chairman mentioned the Hajj savings scheme that's on there, and then the Hajj, the National Hajj headquarters that should not, I wanted to say should not remain in that rented this thing for the next 10 years, but the chairman has assured us that something has been done. Then the Hajj Training Institute also, he also mentioned that something has been done or is being done. The airports, well, so I should just stop.
Thank you, let me save you. That is what they call. Where is Ustaz? He took, we gave him 7 minutes, he took 15. So we are giving you the same 7 minutes. I know you might take less.
Dynasty as the earliest recorded history of the journey to Saudi Arabia for Hajj, which was essentially they trekked to the Holy Land. His father before him, that is Abdul Jalil, died also in the process. It's not confirmed whether he was able to perform the Hajj or not, but he died in Masr, Egypt. After that point, as mentioned in the paper, there was the attempt to undertake the journey also by road. And then the Emir of Katsina, Alhaji Muhammadu Dikko, pioneered the sea travel to Hajj. Of course, he repeated the feat afterwards in 1937 by road. Alhaji Alhassan Dantata, 1927, also undertook the journey by sea through London and then Cairo. Then the tour operators, because that is what I do, started the organized Hajj in 1948. 3 people came together: Alhaji Mahmoud Dantata, Haruna Qasim, Alhaji Ibrahim Musa Gashash, and formed the West African Pilgrims Association, WAPA, go to Kano. WAPA now revolutionized the process by using lorries and the Hajj by road. And WAPA, when the airplane came to alleviate the suffering of 6 months travel by road to Hajj, WAPA was there to provide the air service. The Air Service Limited was established by WAPA to cater for the pilgrims as tour operators. Don't forget, as tour operators. Let me also say that when Alhaji Imam Abubakar, according to the paper, presented his findings to the House of Representatives in Lagos, he made recommendations. He said there should be a Hajj commissioner for the Muslims, of course, and other logistics for the pilgrims. Alhaji Isa Keita led another delegation in 1954. It was after Alhaji Isa Keita's return that a year later, 1955, that Sardauna himself undertook the journey. And when he returned, it was part of his recommendation, Alhaji,
that the tour operators to take over complete Hajj operations. I'm sure you will discuss all these issues. There will be a time when you will discuss all what's been said from the time the chairman Hajj Commission spoke at his welcome address, to my own short remarks, to the lead paper, to the 2 discussants. Then, of course, that's by the time you resume after Zohar prayers, inshallah. So my own is just take 2 minutes to thank the 3 presenters. First, the lead paper presenter, Dr. Usman Bugaje. You all have seen why Hajj Commission reached out to him to be the lead paper presenter. He told us so many things, refreshed our memories about the historical antecedents of Hajj operations and whatever. Told us the very dark, dirty days that we've all suffered as pilgrims, trying to perform our pilgrimages when they are before the establishment of the Hajj Commission. And I honestly believe, all of you will stand by what he said, and whoever is trying to take us back to those dark days, like taking Hajj back to Ministry of Foreign Affairs and whatever, which you've all heard how we've been suffering. and we've heard historically even Malam Sayyid Wada, what he said. I believe you will discuss all these things, because I've heard all these comments being passed around that some people are planning to state that coup to abolish Hajj Commission and take Hajj back to Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But I was not told formally otherwise. Like I say, it's rumor, but there's no smoke without fire. And these are things that I'm bringing to you so that you discuss all these issues. What transpired in the last 10 years of Hajj Commission, where we are now, what we intend to achieve, inshallah, by Allah's grace, in the next maybe 10 years or 20 years or 30 years or so, as leaders, for people to perform their Hajj in the easiest of manners. So we're able to, this will, the paper Usman Bugaje gave us definitely will enable us to think, reflect deep on what transpired. And he made suggestions, even like the last part he made was possible contributions by individuals or pilgrims rather to the coffers of the central body, which is the Hajj Commission. And I believe you will talk about that. And one thing I also want you to look at and maybe discuss, especially the lawyers, the social institutions, leaders, and whatever, if an individual from his pocket brings out ₦1 and put it down in order to do something for his betterment, another person brought out the same money or more. So what I'm saying is this contribution, does that money translate into government funds? Does that money belong to the government? That's what because there are some of these issues. If you remember, some years back, I advocated this 5,000 levy on each pilgrim each year, and the amount translated into billions. Now that money is being kept, and the money is in NACON accounts, sort of. And NACON is an agency of the federal government, and whatever money they have sort of belongs to the government. That's what we've been here. So it means this money these people collected, does it belong to the government or not? I don't have an answer. That's why I'm pushing it back to you. Some of you are government bureaucrats or technocrats. Some of you are very highly learned clerics. So Islamically, you look at it. How is it? Because whatever is against Islam, we will stop. We will not have a hand in it. That's what all of us, whatever is against Islam, we must never support it. So if we believe that if I contribute money, and it's my own personal money, my own sweat, now somebody said it belongs to the government because it's public fund. How public a fund is that? Ayana asusu ko. Ayana asusu with the government. So some of these issues I think we need to, because these are some of the things that people keep on talking about. With comments are made to us, but I don't have answers. So this seminar I think it's a forum for us to look at this. How much of that money? The states are around, the state leaders, and I believe they also know how much they contributed. Suppose me that contributed this money now wants to take my money back. Will it be given to me? Should it be given to me rather? I contributed money for development of this building. Then later on I said, I have not seen any development in this building. For 5 years my money had been there. Please give my money. Can I do so? So these are some of the questions. If I can't, then I've forfeited it to the organization. So I think it's good because we're collecting money, people keep on coming. That's why I made a comment that whatever we do, there shouldn't be loss of trust amongst us. It is that loss of trust. I don't trust this person with my money. I can never, some of you went to these wonder banks because you trusted they will give you money. You put money and money disappeared. You know, like somebody like a snake that swallowed 36 million naira. And the money disappeared. Juju can go back. Now, will you put your money back again there? So I think these are some of the questions. They look so simple, but they are not so simple. What are the laws of the land? The laws of our country, what do they say about such issues? So that we don't be seen to be either fighting authorities or whatever. No, we have to protect our own rights. We are not fighting any authority. Neither the government, nor the states, nor local governments, or anybody. So we thank Dr. Usman Bugaje. And one of the issues he brought up was the sort of a Hajj policy. I don't think I've had any. And I was just asking my brother here, the former chairman, the honorable minister, have they ever had a retreat on issues of Hajj, so that all the management and others of Hajj Commission bring out some stakeholders, go and look yourself for 2-3 days somewhere, brainstorm on all these issues, then come up with this thing. Now he said he can't remember, maybe they did once also. Now if they did once, it doesn't mean you cannot continue. So I think I urge the present leadership of the Hajj Commission now look at possibility of convening a very quiet retreat away from not all these media shows, so that you can sit down with some key stakeholders, people that they have had a hand in Hajj issues one time or the other, so that you can look at all these things, bring some notable government leaders that have contributed, and when they speak, people will listen to them. Then let's come up with this, it will help us, because we're now looking at another 10-15 years of Hajj operations in Nigeria. So I would like to, on your behalf, thank our 3 presenters, and with this, especially Dr. Saleh Okenwa, who virtually told us that he was not given the paper, and therefore he has nothing to say, but he made some comments. And since he didn't have any comment, that's why I requested him to allow the next person to speak. And Ustaz Sadique, we thank you, and also illuminated us, reminded us about some of the issues Dr. Bugaje brought up, and even told us more. And the issue of tour operators, I don't know, he's a tour operator. So maybe he wants to be given the whole permission to elect 90,000 pilgrims, and whether he'll be able to do it. And at that time, Abdullah will be his PA.
There will always be a regulator.
So, but anyway, we'll just look at this thing. We have come of age. I think those olden days have. We use them to reflect and look at the present. The present day, where the whole world is a small village. The whole world is a small village. Whatever is happening in America right now, in your living room, you will see it live. Somebody being shot, somebody being killed. People are on Arafat. You can see it physically. Before, when people return from Hajj, you should go Arafat. When did you do Arafat? It was who do the same day. When did you do Salah Baba? The same day. But now, live, everybody is seeing it. And I think we have come of age. We look at policies. We need changes, yes, but the changes should be for the better. The changes should be everybody being involved. That's what I said earlier on. Not to say only this person can do it. No, it's not possible. The changes is for all of us to change our ways of living together as an ummah and help one another. Nobody can just claim knowledge of everything. He's the only person who can talk, who can do this, who can do this. No. I think it's important. So I want to thank you, and I would request what you have in the last item you have is appearances, which is supposed to be at 12:40, and that's we're 10 minutes behind schedule, and I think you are very right on time. We'll give them maximum 10 minutes for these appearances. I think what the chairman told me, there are some people who have donated some other things. Well, they say only one, so he has 2 minutes. You say only one, not only one. We are contracted 10 minutes. I thought only one. You go. So me there. So yeah, bayani 5 minutes. Now about 5 minutes. So since he is speaking for all of them, we make 2 minutes. That car 3. So you can let him come and talk to us 5 minutes, and then at the end of that, the last one is the Zuhur prayer lunch break. But as they finish, we will invite Ahmad Suleiman to come and do the closing prayer for us. We must always close with prayer. Since we are closing to go for Zuhur and lunch, since we started with the recitation and prayer, we will close after the appearances. So, in terms of appearances.
Well, the medical